everybody, welcome to Hiking Misadventures. I am continuing with the series on how I'm preparing for the big road trip coming up later this summer and in the early fall. And in this one, I am focusing specifically on camping reservations, particularly the process that we used to secure spots at really popular national parks, and also tips and tricks that we learned along the way that I hope will be helpful to you as you plan your next national park adventure. So camping in national parks is an amazing experience, but if you're trying to reserve a campsite, particularly an established campsite in one of the popular national parks, it definitely requires advanced planning. Given the ground that we're covering in 5 weeks, we mostly opted to stay in these places. So instead of going through all the national parks that we're staying at, I decided to focus this video on 3 specific parks that are very popular and also tend to be hard to secure reservations for. So the first one is Yellowstone National Park. The first thing to know about making camping reservations at Yellowstone is that the process starts very, very early. In fact, it starts on May 1st, the year before that you want to visit the park. Yellowstone has 12 campgrounds with over 2,000 campsites, but only 5 of those campgrounds accept reservations. The remaining 7 are first come, first serve. So all this means is that you have to show up really early on the day that you want to start the trip, and you will more than likely find a spot to camp at. The reservation process is easy. You go to recreation.gov and pick the dates that you want and make a web reservation. The cost actually ranges for the reserved sites depending on the campground. So the cost can range from $25 to $48, and the first come first served sites range from $15 to $20 a night. So that Yellowstone actually has a very handy-dandy website called Yellowstone Live Campgrounds, which actually on the day that you arrive will update by the minute on the status of the campground that you have in mind, whether the campground is open, how many spots are available, and then just for your planning purposes, it also tells you at what time the day before the campsite closed. Right behind Yellowstone for us was Glacier National Parks. We are very excited to go see the glaciers, and we were able to secure a campsite for 3 nights without too many problems in mid-February, but advanced planning is of course important if you want to get the perfect site. So what do you need to know about reserving a camp spot here? First of all, there are 13 campgrounds with over 1,000 camping sites, and you can make reservations at 3 of the campgrounds, and the other 10 are first come, first serve. So again, if you're an early planner, you can begin your planning process 6 months in advance and get a spot at one of those 3 spots, or just make sure you arrive very early in the morning to one of the other 10 remaining sites and be able to grab a spot that way. And the cost of camping at Glacier varies depending on the campground. For the reserved campgrounds, the cost is between $20 to $23 a night, and for the first come first served sites, they range from $10 to $20 a night. You can also, just like at Yellowstone, check the status of the first come first sites on the Glacier National Park campground status page, and it'll tell you again, like it does with Yellowstone, if a campground is open, what time the campground filled up in the previous days, so that'll help you plan your arrival. And then if you're actually a hiker or a biker who comes into the park without a motorized vehicle, there are actually separate hiker-biker campgrounds that you can walk up to and camp in. Okay, so the next park on my list is Arches National Park. Even though this didn't make it into the top 10 parks in 2017, it is still really hard to find a camping spot inside the park. And it's mostly because there's only one established campground. Between March 1st and October 31st, Devil's Garden Campground does require reservations, so it's not a first come, first served site. And there are only 51 sites available. So the Devil's Garden Campground opens for reservations 6 months in advance. Unfortunately, we missed that 6-month window, so we were not able to get a campsite inside the park. But don't worry, lots of people have this problem. But there is a lot of camping available in Moab, which is the nearest town to Arches. Most of these campsites are first come, first served. We were able to find spots at the Dead Horse Point State Park, which is beautiful, and they have plenty of campsites available that you can make reservations for. Reservations for the individual sites are $25 a night, and they also have group sites available, and the price for those range from $75 to $200 a night. Also keep in mind that water is scarce inside the park, and you're limited to refilling your bottles and jugs only. In a future post, I will talk about the process for securing backcountry permits at a lot of these national parks, because they are often on a different reservation system than for the established campground, so look for an upcoming video on that.
If you like this video, please remember to hit subscribe. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook now at Hiking Misadventures. Also remember to sign up for my blog at hikingmisadventures.com.